I wish I'd liked Lucky Numbers more than I had. There's nothing necessarily wrong with this film, I just found it to be quite dull. And maybe the narrative was a little bit back and forth too much. But as a big fan of Lisa Kudrow, I really like John Travolta as well. I really hoped I'd liked it, but I didn't. I found it quite dull. This was released in 2000, directed by Nora Ephron, written by Adam Resnick, as I said, starring Travolta and Kudrow. Really great supporting cast as well. We have Tim Roth and Bill Pullman. Strong cast, strong crew. It seems like it would have worked. And the narrative seemed really interesting as well. I mean, the description from IMDb is 7 words, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 7 words. And this says, a television weatherman scams a local lottery. That's it. That's your premise. So the local weatherman is Russ Richards, played by John Travolta. He teams up with Crystal, Lisa Kudrow, to obviously try and get money by scamming the local lottery. The reason Kudrow or Crystal is involved is because she was I don't know what the word is. I guess the dame who is presenting the ball numbers while wearing a glitzy costume, kind of like a magician's assistant. I'm not sure what that term is. But anyway, she was doing that. The network were not really nice to work for, so this seemed like the perfect opportunity to team up with Roth and scam the lottery. Interesting premise. It does get quite tense at times, where you think, are they going to get away with it? Are they going to get caught? But I feel like the dynamic between the characters didn't work very well. They were obviously trying to get the same result, but I feel like they were fighting 2 separate battles or performing 2 separate schemes. And I think it didn't work very well in terms of character engagement. Nothing wrong with the acting or the on-screen chemistry. That's the way the characters were written in the script, obviously based on their actions and their dialogue. And I just feel like they needed to have maybe worked together a bit more. I also didn't really like Crystal as a character. Russ was actually interesting as a character because I didn't dislike him. Normally if a character is going to try and scam somebody or a corporation or whatever, I'm going to not like them, just because that's a really bad personality trait. But I actually didn't mind him, and I kind of sometimes was rooting for him. I don't know what that says about me or about the film or what it did to me, but I thought it was, yeah, as a character I thought he was pretty good. The concept is interesting. I was mildly curious to see if they'd get caught or if they'd get away with it. With this kind of film, you can never tell. You know, some films like this, they get away with it, some they don't. So I'm not going to say what happens. I wasn't disappointed by the ending. You know, I didn't feel like it was an anticlimax, but I guess that's primarily because there was no real development towards a climax. It was very mundane. Little bits and pieces here and there maybe were slightly interesting, but the characters together didn't really work very well on screen, and Crystal as a character I didn't like. So I was kind of deflated by the time we got to the end of it. But I'm glad I stuck with it to say I've seen it, because it's been on my list for quite a while. I didn't mind it. It wasn't awful. But there's certainly a lot of room for improvement. Very good casting, but despite the interesting narrative, I feel like the execution just let itself down a little bit.